Lori, this one is you, and then I'll.
Yeah, thank you. That's what I was going to get to. So just high level of a lot of the work that's gone on and still continues to go on. So we approached this with an intent to maintain staff. We have new needs that we've never had before because of the pandemic. We know we needed to really put together a rich set of software platforms, given that so much of our work is remote. Even in opening schools this fall, there will always be groups of kids working remotely because we can't bring everybody back all at once or full time, never mind if we have to close again. We reviewed all of our materials and especially looked at those shared by students. We're going more and more toward single-use items and really sidelining things that are used by multiple kids. We're also creating tools for them to have at home in case we're closed for an extended period. We've been working on scheduling, a lot of work on scheduling and space usage, and that continues and is going to be reviewed right up till we get these final plans pulled together. We are limiting access to the buildings, and that has an impact, for example, on daily substitutes. We're going to be minimizing, actually starting without substitutes coming in on per diem basis and utilizing in-house staff. We're going to be limiting student travel for field trips. That's not allowed right now, so we need to be cognizant of that. It did have some cost attached to it that we've been able to lower our request, still leaving money for virtual field trips. And obviously with no transportation involved, that's another cost factor. We did have increased need for summer services, and we did that fairly proactively, both regular education and special education. So that's been factored in with what those needs were. And we are targeting certain kinds of professional development, certainly in technology, reworking of curriculum, social emotional learning, and our equity and anti-racist work. So we've done a lot of creative work there, really maximizing on our in-house expertise, as well as some consultants that we have longtime relationships with, both of which allowed for cost-effective measures and ongoing professional development with teachers essentially volunteering all summer, which we're grateful for their response to that. There are certain programs that are under major review. We're awaiting word on sports any minute now from the state, both DESE and MIAA. We're reworking performing arts and what those options are. We're not allowed to sing or play airborne-based instruments in the schools anytime soon, so that's considerable change to those programs. We have identified and stocked up on a wide range of PPE. We can talk on that if you'd like. We do believe and are securing outdoor spaces. This will give us different options in the fall and spring months for kids and teachers to be outside. We are creating screening tools so that we're collecting on a daily basis parent, student, or teacher, faculty, staff reports of a lack of symptoms, which means they can come to school and work. We're working closely with the Concord Health Department and our lead nurses to look at our health service delivery and the role and protocols we need both for working with ill kids and if we had a COVID case, as well as the daily cleaning protocols, the deep cleaning protocols, and obviously if there's a response needed to a breakout of any single or multiple cases of illness. We are looking at both aggregate and individual needs for social emotional support. We've done a lot of work with the programs we have all around our advisory and open circle pieces, and are also really making sure we've got tools to identify those needing individual access. We have screeners in place electronically, self-reported forms kids fill out, as well as obviously a great deal of teacher input. And then finally, needing more intervention services. Our goal, just like it has always been, is to work with kids before they're falling way behind or before they're in crisis. And so we're building those kinds of structures and making sure some of the models we have that have been so effective during normal times are remaining intact despite all the very different moving pieces.
Excuse me, Dr. Hunter, may I just ask a quick question? Would you prefer us to hold questions till the end?
If it's programmatic on any of those pieces, I think you could ask those now. If you have fiscal actual dollars, that might be best at the end after Jared's done some of that.
So let me just give it a try. There are four categories here that identified as new need. And I'm just wondering, are those not areas that would be compensated by the CARES Act?
So the CARES Act, and Jared can talk more on how the CARES Act pertains, they certainly could be. And so the piece that we're looking at and have had considerable conversation with the school committee about, we could use the CARES Act money for some offsets. We could also use the CARES money to help remain contingent, provide contingency money for the other unknowns that haven't come up yet. And that's the discussion we've had at the school committee, is to do some of both of those, offsetting some of the budget, but also leaving some for contingency of the things we haven't yet identified as we actually open the schools.
Dr. Hunter, one other quick request. Would you just very briefly talk about the discussion you had today earlier about the HVAC system?
Oh, sure.
I thought that was very informative.
Great, thanks, Dee. We had an HVAC consultant come through each of the schools in the last 2 weeks. He's put together a status report for us, which overall was very, very good. He did identify areas of need at, no surprise to all of you, Sanborn, Peabody, and Ripley. And the recommendation is for air purifiers to be installed in those spaces to ensure that the ventilation is adequate. We already have purchased those, and Jared can talk on the funding source. Those would certainly be CARES qualified, no question about that. And that's going to allow us to open schools in a safe way.
Yep. So just so you know, we ordered about 7 air scrubbers. They'll be in the first week in September. We ordered 57 HEPA air filters. Those will be in at the end of this week. In addition, the air purifiers, they'll be in at the end of this week. And then we bought 9 months worth of HEPA filters for all of those units. So we're stocking up.